Hi out there, it's Game Time presented by Kia. Good to see you with us. I'm Matt Weiner, surrounded by coaches Mitchell, Shaw, and Mchale right there. We'll start here in Atlanta, where the Lakers made the third stop on their 5-game East Coast trip roadie. But for LeBron James, not before a side trip. LeBron took a private plane to Ohio to see his son Bronny's high school team beat his alma mater, St. Vincent St. Mary. The game was worth the trip. Bronny earned the game MVP in Sierra Canyon High's victory. Dad then got back on a plane to Atlanta so he and the Lakers could pick up where they left off, destroying the rest of the league. In this case, the Hawks, although they weren't necessarily destroying on Sunday. That's Trae Young.
Ooh, nice move by Trae. A little floater there to finish it off.
He's destroyed some defenders already in his young career. LeBron, that's destruction by Dwight Howard, and then James on the back.
There you meant that destruction right there, huh?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Looking spry for that old man.
I know that's right. When I was a young man, I couldn't do that.
Spinning and slamming. Alex Len, barely saw him go by.
Been that way his whole career.
But Mac, we could all do that if we spend $2 million a year on our body.
Really?
Yeah.
I would like to think.
Look at Dwight. Just keep running. Dwight without the frosty tops is getting up and dunking it.
Mac, he's not hiding anymore. I keep telling you that.
That was his only bucket of the game, by the way. James,
Big one.
Deep step back three at 23 at the half and hit 4 of the Lakers' 5 made threes. Lakers up by 7 at the break. Trae Young. Yep.
Another really crafty dribbler. He gets where he wants to with the ball.
That's tied it at 57. Anthony Davis goes for 27 and 13. Then LeBron.
Another deep three. Deep.
He was just testing out the range. Likes the view from right there. Ooh. Sent 2 at him. It was too late.
Well, he's not getting his feet anywhere near the three-point line. He's shooting 4 or 5 feet behind it.
As a team, they were 5 of 31. He hit 4 of 10, but the Hawks hanging around. It's Young on the layup on the break, and then Young showing off his range. 30 points, 7 boards, and 7 assists. They're within 5. Down 3, they got a chance to tie this game up. Vince Carter.
Don't give up a 3.
Ooh.
Gave up a 3.
Cam Reddish, wide open look. Watch it again. James didn't commit to Carter or Reddish.
He just knew Reddish was going to miss. He just understood that.
Yeah, well, great defense then.
That's the big, that's the big basketball brain he likes to talk about, right? He saw that coming. Hugs for Carter as the Lakers win their 7th straight. They've taken 17 of 18 and 14 in a row now on the road. That is the 2nd longest road win streak in team history. LeBron says this one in particular was a bit of a grind.
No matter what the game presents itself, we've been able to, figure it out. We couldn't throw a quarter in the ocean tonight, and we were turning the ball over. And versus a young team, you can't do that. You give them so many opportunities, but just being resilient and relying on our defense, knowing that we can get stops in critical times, and just trying to execute on the other end.
Lakers couldn't shoot it from 3, as LeBron mentioned. They turned it over 22 times, and yet they come away with a win on the road. How much about this team allows them to stretch the margin for error a little bit?
Well, when you have 2 great players like, LeBron and AD, your margin for error is a little larger than the other teams that they're playing against. But, he talked about it. The thing that's nice about this team is that whatever style of play that the other team tries to play against them, they're able to adjust and adapt to it. And they, sometimes it takes a little longer in the game for them to get to it, but when it slows down, they can play at a slow pace because they can throw it inside. And when it's an up and down game, they can play that way too.
Yeah, you win when Davis and LeBron James combined for 59 points, 26 rebounds, and 10 assists. That's that's pretty good. Kind of a tidy night for those two. It's like, what did you do? That's how you win. Those 2 guys are just great players. They couldn't throw the ball in the ocean, as LeBron said. But when you have 2 of the most dominant players in the league, probably 2 of the top 5 players in the league on your team, you're going to win a lot of games, even if you don't play well. So it's a credit to them. I've seen the Lakers play really well. They're scary when they're making shots and running and defending because their defense is solid. So, they're for real. There's no question about that.
Hawks are now 6 and 21. More numbers.
They're not for real.
Trae Young, but you get to a point where you're in danger of building the losing habit. What is the ideal situation around Young for his development moving forward?
Well, you would like to add a couple of veterans, not too old. You got Vince Carter there, who's been a great mentor for these young team, but I don't know if I would break this team up right now because I might would make a trade if it was for another young player, maybe a guy in his 4th, 5th year maybe, but I wouldn't go too old because this is the thing. You don't know what you got right now. Collins is out right now serving a suspension. Look, all these players are so young, and Cam Reddish and all these guys, you got to give them a year to find out who they are. And Mac, I used to say this all the time. In that first year when you're bad, I don't care if they fail. I want to find out who's got heart and who has mental toughness and who's going to sit back at the end of the season and say, oh, you know what? My rookie year, took a beating. Now I know what to go home and work on to get better. And so it's not that you lose is not necessarily a bad thing. It's how you lose, losing with a purpose. And if your young players understand what they need to do to get better, then you lost with a purpose.
All right, to Brooklyn, no Joel.
Obviously, they've struggled offensively. They have to pick up the pace. Their defense is good, but they have to be able to turn that defense into offense on the other end, get some easier baskets in transition. And I think Vucevic, being back, has to mix it up a little bit more, not just rely on things on the outside. I think, in order to have a successful team, there has to be some sort of inside presence. And he can score the ball inside. He just needs to find himself in there a little bit more.
Yeah, no question. Just living and dying on the jumper alone. It's one thing when it goes in, everything looks good. Like in your math, public school math, that's 17 for 34, 50%.
I got that right?
100% right. That you look really good when you do that. I tell you, when you start missing some shots, I'm often shocked when coaches go like, well, we just missed shots. How about plan B? Be a basketball player. To me, you're two things. You're either a shooter or you're a basketball player. If I missed a couple of shots, I'm putting the ball on the floor. I'm going to get fouled. Hey, when you rise up for your first jumper and you shoot it, and that thing hits the side of the rim, and you go like, ooh. Shoot the next one, you go like, ooh. Like, man, my shot is funky right now.
Yeah.
And so then you become a basketball player, and you get to the line, you run, you do all those other things, and you manufacture your 18 points, but completely different. Hey, when you rise up and you shoot your first two jumpers, they're nothing but twine, you can do this and shoot, because you just get hot. And so they need a plan B. And I think Vucevic in the post is not bad. They can also play out with him, 5 out. When you're 5 out, someone drive to the paint. That's why you play 5 out, so the paint's wide open. They got to get that guy. Maybe it's Fultz. Maybe it's somebody that can just break down the defense and just get to the paint and get paint points and free throws when you need them.
The other side of the coin, the New Orleans Pelicans continue to struggle. This was the 9th time this season they've allowed 50% shooting by an opponent. That's a third of their games already. And they have lost a franchise record 12 in a row. Here's Alvin Gentry after what turned out to be a short afternoon against the Magic.
Are you worried at all about your own job at this point? 12 straight losses?
I've been in the league 31 years. I don't ever worry about anything that I don't have any control over. I don't have control over that. So you would have to ask that question to the people that control that. I just know that I'm going to come to work every day and do everything I can to get this turned around. That's what I do now.
Well, no fun to be in Alvin's position right now.
We've all been there.
Well, and hanging over the whole thing is obviously Zion Williamson, who has not yet played, and there's really no firm timetable on when he's going to play in his rookie season. For Alvin, what can he do right now with what he has on the floor to turn this thing around?
Well, I think what you saw was frustration, obviously. 12 losses in a row will do that to anybody. I think what he said is he hit the nail on the head. He can't control his job security. He comes in every day, does his job to the best of his ability, and works with what he has to work with night in and night out. But when you look at their roster, not only is Zion Williamson missing, but they have a roster full of young guys that are still figuring themselves out. Now, they play hard in a lot of games. They've been competitive and had to put themselves in position to win, but just haven't been able to get over that hump and figure out how to close games out. And that's typical when you have a young team. So, I don't know that there's much. You can go get Red Auerbach, Pat Riley, Phil Jackson, and bring them back. I don't know that they would do any better with this roster that he has to work with.
Red Auerbach is not available. I know that for certain. Defensively, the one glaring thing is the Pelicans are the second worst defensive team in the NBA. That seems like the obvious place to start, and I know that's not necessarily Alvin's history as a coach, but that's the one area they could improve on a nightly basis.
Well, the most amazing thing to me, when you have a young team, you would think because they're young, they're going to play with energy, they're going to play hard, they're going to be tough, they're going to be flying all over the place defensively. No. Young players are the worst defenders in the league. That's why you struggle. So they all think everything starts and ends on offense. And the hardest thing to do, and Matt and B. Shaw know this, is to get young players to buy into the defensive end. Because guess what? When they come in on that first contract, Everybody wants that second contract, and everyone thinks you get paid by scoring.
Numbers.
And that's the thing about it. Everybody has to look around the room and say, look, Zion Williams, if he stays healthy, he's getting a payday. Other guys. But you have to look within yourself and look at your ability and say, look, I'm going to stay in this league by playing hard, playing good team defense. And as a coaching staff, you got to emphasize that. You got to put 80% of your time on the defensive end. Players learn how to score. You guys know that. You will never have a problem with players shooting the basketball. Playing D is another thing, and that's the thing that they have to stick to every day. He's got to drill that defense, make these guys accountable, because at the end of the day, that's where they're going to have a chance to win games.
Yeah, for me, you got to really drill your transition defense. At least you just can't be giving up easy baskets in transition. If you're constantly running back and they're running 4-on-3s, 4-on-2s, 5-on-4s, 5-on-3s on you, you're going to get creamed. Then you got to stay in front of your guy, and it sounds basic, but you've got to stay in front of your guy. You can't get beat with just a simple move. If your guy